Madagascar has the most diverse conditions of any place we've ever ridden. So Freshline, for these expeditions, we try and pair an expedition with a mission so that we leave every place better than we found it. And what we do is typically the first thing is we'll ask the owner of the motor rental company where the needs are in the country. And that's what we did here. We asked Francois, who's the owner of the company, what is it that Freshline could possibly do? And his suggestion was water filters for the villages. The reason for that being that water is hard to come by in the southern part of Madagascar. It's hot, it's desert, and most of those villages have wells, but those wells are typically contaminated with bacteria.
Freshline has a very beautiful code, which is one of the reasons I like to travel with Freshline. When Eric said to us, we leave every place a little bit better than we found it. That's what we want to do, that's what we want to accomplish.
I would confidently say that Madagascar exceeded my expectations as far as how difficult the roads were, how friendly the people were, and it just overall has delivered almost in every aspect to my highest expectations. So.
And without a doubt, the terrain, the riding, the people, the culture, it's just exceeded everything.
So she's in Poland. My mother-in-law's
We know less going into this expedition than any other expedition we've ever run, and that can be a good thing. Like, what's really awesome about the guys is the fact that they're up for a challenge, and if things don't go according to plan, the good news here is there wasn't much of a plan to begin with. So as long as these guys can go through a challenge, then we'll be fine. And we've got a pretty good crew, so I'm not too worried about that.
This expedition was probably our highest vetted so far, just to make sure that guys were either guys that we knew before, had ridden with before, and if they weren't, they have a very, very strong resume of essentially ex-racers.
The road change every day because if it's rain, no bridge, dust, it's different. Sometimes it's 100 kilometers per day, and sometimes it's 400. And the rhythm of riding, it's 20 kilometers. When you do 400 kilometers,
It's a big day.
big day.
So from what I can understand, we're in for a very challenging, very intense adventure. The trails are extremely challenging. Apparently that professional racers come here to train because it's just that intense. I feel like you get this feeling every time, but every time I do one of these things, it feels like the stakes are just getting higher and higher. The challenge is getting greater and greater. But I'm here now, so here we go. terrain in Madagascar is something that I don't even know how to describe it. It's constantly changing. And from a riding perspective, it is the ultimate challenge because you're never sitting down for a moment. Every single track, every single road is a challenge, whether it's deep sand or crazy ruts and humps or just these insane rocks that you have to try and traverse over. It's stuff that you look at and you'd think, I would have a hard time walking over that. And then you realize, I'm about to ride a motorcycle over this. It's exciting, but it's also terrifying at the same time.
Yeah, so the water crossing. Yeah, Roger said that it would be no problem to go across the river, and he did not want to get his feet wet. So apparently, he just keep steadily on the second gear, which he interestingly told me when I got over the river, you can maintain the speed, and his feet didn't even get wet. The only minor small detail he didn't say was that as soon as you let go of the gas, the water comes in there and it just filled my air filter. And my bike stalled badly in the river. And I just saw him go. And there was a moment there and I thought, okay, my Alex the Lion, my KTM, does not have an engine anymore. Oops. But thankfully it was fine. I turned it off immediately and I pushed it over the river, which was not a problem, and that's what we should have done, and that's what I'm doing next time. And we literally put the bike like upside down to pour all the water from the injectors. Francois, if you see this, I'm sorry. And we just stayed there for an hour and a half while we dried, because I was not the only one. Yeah, we had we drowned 3 bikes in that river. And we dried the air filters, and we tried our best to help. There was a couple of there were people there who were stuck in the river with a car, like on a tour. And we did everything we could to help them while we waited for our air filters to dry. But they were in an unsalvageable car with a broken clutch. And once the air filter dried, we started the bikes, they ran great. And next river, okay, we just put it into second gear and kept up with Roger, and everything went great.
My name's Hans Bockelman. I'm originally from Pennsylvania, but I've been living in South Florida, Miami for the last 16 years. Yeah, so I guess it was day 3, the day of the rain, where the road started getting, it was slick. Went down pretty good, stuffed it pretty hard on my right shoulder. It hurt, but it wasn't the end of the world. And we rode the rest of that day, but then we got into the hotel that night, and the fever hit me. I was pretty good physically other than the fever at that stage. And then as that night wore on, my shoulder just hurt worse and worse. I spent the night just in pain, couldn't roll over, and I'm not a light sleeper, or I am a light sleeper, and I don't sleep still, I roll over a lot, so every time I tried to roll over on my right shoulder, I was just like in excruciating pain. Talked to the guys in the morning. My biggest concern was that Roger kept telling us the next day we had probably one of the most difficult days with a steep downhill with big rocks. The mentality, the club, the team, Brotherhood, not a chance in hell I would have been able to keep going if I would have been out here by myself, but I definitely wouldn't have made it to that experience of ripping down that beach without the team.
The Brotherhood element, it's been huge for me, because I came up riding in a family, like we go ride out together, but we don't do day rides. And when I got into adventure riding, exploratory riding, it was always alone. It's like coming into these trips where everybody works together. It's like you fall, your buddy's there to pick you up. You got diarrhea, your buddy's there to give you some medicine. It's confidence inspiring to know your buddy's got your back and your group has your back. I always like to dream that I'd love to ride around the world by myself, but I've learned through this experience, riding with you guys a couple of times, is having that group of support is so much better than being alone. It's something special to be able to and again, kind of send it a little bit more than you would alone. It's we want to be careful, but you can also you can go a little bit faster, you can go a little bit crazier if you got a group of guys to pick you up when you fall down.
And then just, I mean, ending the day with a group of like stoked guys, smiling faces, like we just got through the gnarliest shit. And then we get to come out and sit down, have a beer, enjoy the sunset. It's like so much better than it would ever be if you're trying to do it on your own. You know, so it's a special thing.
We brought 10 water filters and we distributed them at 3 villages here. And the people seemed grateful. We tried to dig a little bit deeper with the chiefs or the local heads of the villages, and they seemed pretty grateful that they had the water filters because it wasn't something that they had access to before. And these water filters are long lasting. They're from Sawyer, so shout out to Sawyer who makes water filters that should last, if they're well taken care of, should last up to a decade for these guys. And we wanted something a little bit more sustainable than a quick fix.
Definitely one of the biggest moments was the entire process of kind of becoming aware of, you know, the Guy situation. It's super cool what he does, and the fact that he's kind of standing out in his space and also representing people from Madagascar and African people in terms of riding motorcycles and just being such an amazing rider. It's such a unique position that he's in. And you know, he really mentioned that a lot of the trips he does, because he's the repair guy, he gets kind of pushed to the background, and it was really cool to watch that he became such an integral part of the team. And watching him and Roger just completely join the Brotherhood was, I don't know, it was really, really cool, because it just took all of Freshline's morals and just showed that it was real, and just showed that that was such an important, integral part of who they are and what they do. And then, yeah, Guy opening up about his, you know, family scenario and his troubles with, you know, wanting to buy property and things like that. It just really hit home. And then realizing, you know, the amount that people make here on a monthly basis and the amount that a property costs, it was a cool position that the team and that Freshline was in, to be like, okay, they could actually offer a substantial donation that could make a huge impact in his life that, you know, was not, you know, it was a reasonable amount of money, but it's cool to see how far it can go here. So at the end of the trip, we kind of asked Guy and Roger to meet up, and, you know, we gave them tips and we gave them a bunch of gear, and they were super stoked. And then we had this moment where the team gave Guy a donation of like around $2,000 US, and just seeing how much that impacted him. Like, he didn't even know how to react. And I don't know, just that full circle moment of realizing that of all the things that we did, of all the riding that we did, and all the villages that we visited, and all the wheelies that we did, and the baobabs, and the river crossings, and the pancakes and everything, that was the moment that was like, if nothing else, we individually impacted one person's life. And not only affected their, you know, financial and economic situation, but more importantly, changed how they perceived foreigners coming here and how they treat them. And I don't know, just increasing someone's confidence and reminding them that, like, hey, you know what, like, regardless of what kind of people come here or how you're treated, we know you're a human being. We value you 100%, and you are a part of our team. Showing that, and then being like, you are as much a brother as anyone else here, and we want to support you in your personal life. That was cool. And I didn't know how Guy was going to receive that, or how Roger was going to receive that, and how much that was going to impact them, but seeing how it was received, seeing how important it was to him, it's awesome. I don't know, I feel like of all the things we do, being able to leave one lasting impact in one person's life is pretty cool addition. You know, you get to come out here and have a lot of fun. But it's funny how those individual human moments seem to outshine everything else. After Guy sent us a photo with his family smiling, and it just humanized him and humanized the moment, and made you realize that this is all bigger than any of us. It's bigger than riding, it's bigger than wheelies, it's bigger than high fives in villages. You know, having the opportunity to just meet people from different walks of life and different cultures and really connect with them and really humanize them. It opens your world, it opens your mind. And when given the opportunity to make an impact in someone's life, and more importantly, them making an impact on yours in return, it's a pretty amazing exchange. So I would say mission success.